So today we're going to talk about polynomial inequalities. So first of all, remember that an inequality has multiple solutions. So for example, if I had x equals 4, I have a single solution. If I have x is greater than 4, I have lots of solutions, infinitely many solutions. So that's something to keep in mind as we do these questions. So remember also that when we write f of x, we are referring to the y values on the graph. F of x is greater than 0 means that the graph of f of x is above the x-axis. F of x is less than 0 means that the graph of f of x is below the x-axis. This is known as positive intervals, and this is known as negative intervals. So here's a picture of my graph over here, and it says consider the function f of x above. Where does f of x equal 0? So these are going to be my x-intercepts. So 1, 2, 3. So x equals -3, -1, and 3. B says where is f of x greater than 0? So greater than 0 means above the x-axis. So I'm going to shade here to here and here to here. So there's no underline, so it's going to be parentheses, -3 to -1, and 3 to infinity. Notice that each of my bounds on my intervals are my zeros or my x-intercepts. And then C says, where is f of x less than or equal to 0? So this is below the x-axis. So here to here, and here to there. Now this one has an underline, so it is going to be equal to, it's going to have a bracket. So this is -infinity to -3 with a bracket, and then -1 to 3 with brackets because it is equal to. So just a recap of notation. Remember that either of these get closed circles and brackets. Either of these get an open circle and a parentheses, and also infinity always falls in that category as well. So let's take a look at an example. We're going to be solving nonlinear inequalities for polynomials. So first thing is, in example 1, notice that I am in factored form. If for some reason I was not in factored form, your first step would be to solve for f of x equals 0. So we're going to factor and t off. Okay, so mine's already in factored form, so I'm just going to t off. I get x equals 3, x equals -1, and x equals -4. Then we're going to create a sign chart from step 1. So I'm going to create a number line, and I'm going to put these values on my number line. So -4, -1, and 3 are on my number line. I have a greater than symbol. Don't know what happened here. Give me 1 second. I have a greater than symbol, so that means I am going to have open circles. So open circle, open circle, open circle. Now I'm going to sketch my picture of my graph. So my polynomial graph, I have a degree 1, 2, 3. So I have a degree 3, which means it is going to have opposite arrows. And I have a positive leading coefficient, so my right arrow has to point up because I have a 1x, a 1x, and a 1x. So I have a positive leading coefficient. My zeros are at -4, -1, and 3. All of them have multiplicities of 1, so they all go straight through. So my graph looks something like this. Doesn't need to be perfect. Now I have to sketch and shade. So this was greater than 0, so it is above the x-axis. So here to here and here to here. So I'm going to take my picture and I'm going to transfer it to my number line. So I'm shading between -4 and -1. I'm shading from 3 over. And then lastly, I am going to take my number line and I'm going to transfer it from my number line into interval notation. So -4 to -1, they both get parentheses because they're open circles. And then 3 to infinity. This is my solution. So let's take a look at one more together. Okay. So step 1 would be to factor. It's already in factor form, so I'm going to go right ahead and I'm going to tee off. I get x equals -2 and x equals 5. I'm going to put my number line, -2 and 5. It's less than or equal to, so I have closed circles. So closed circle, closed circle. Now I'm going to graph my picture. So I have a degree of 3 again, so I have opposite arrows. I have a positive leading coefficient because I have a 1x and a 1x, so I have a positive leading coefficient, so it looks like this. My zeros are at -2, which is going to have a bounce, and at 5, which is going to go straight through. So bounce straight through, looks like this. It is less than or equal to 0, so I want it to be below the x-axis. So here to here, and here to there. So I am going to shade here on my number line up to -2, and then again between -2 and 5. And because I have a closed circle, it's going to be -infinity to 5. There's my solution. Now, just quickly, if this said less than 0, and this was my number line, I would have -infinity to -2, and then -2 to 5. I would have to break it up into 2 separate intervals because here I have an open circle, so this is not included. That's not the case here. This was my answer. However, I just want you to keep that in mind in the future. So that is solving polynomial inequalities. So step 1, factor, tee off, and solve. Step 2, create a number line with your critical values or your solutions, your zeros. Step 3, sketch a picture, shade according to my inequality above or below, put that on my number line, write my final answer from my number line into interval notation.